Go to the coffee quiz later. All right. So we'll end our class in this slide. We start with this slide here. So where we left off last week was with Rudra Gita. If anybody remembers, the sons of Pracinabarhi, there were 10 of them called the Prachetas. And the Prachetas were instructed by their father, Pracinabarhi, to take over the kingdom. But before that, they were going to meditate and get self-realized. So they went searching for a nice place to meditate, and then they reached this nice pond called Rudra Tirtha, and that's from where Lord Shiva and his associates came out of the beautiful pond, which was surrounded by very very auspicious trees and very auspicious um, weather, and it brings a lot of bhakti in whoever goes there. So from there is where Lord Shiva comes out and instructs the Prachetas how to meditate, and uh, he gives knowledge about Krishna and how Krishna is the most worshipable person, and how to meditate on the Lord, and gave them these bunch of verses. And the Prachetas took Lord Shiva as their guru, and took those nice mantras, and they got into the water to meditate on the Lord for 10,000 years. And while that meditation was going on, their father, Pracinabarishat or Pracinabarhi, he was more of a fruitive worker or a karma kandi. So most of the people in this world are karma kandis. They're only looking for a sense gratification, just for enjoyment in this world. They think that if their selfish enjoyment is what's the purpose of life is for. So this Pracinabarhi, uh, he was doing a lot of sacrifices and pujas and all that rituals, just to get more and more comforts in life. Um, so Narada Muni, being very merciful, he came there to instruct Pracinabarhi, and that's what we're going to discuss in this chapter. So Narada tells Pracinabarhi what to achieve, because he's always doing this karma kanda. So he's asking him, what do you achieve with all this activities? So then this Pracinabarhishat is surrendering to his guru, Narada Muni. He says, my intelligence is entangled in fruitive activities, graha medis, like family to be the ultimate goal of life, and wander in material existence. So we see here how Pracinabarhishat, though he's a fruitive worker, he has the good sense to surrender to Narada, to understand what he should be doing, instead of doing all these rituals for his own benefit. So Narada Muni then suddenly shows to him, because Narada Muni is a yogic mystic, and he is able to show him that all the animals, this Pracinabarhishat used to do animal sacrifices to get more better situation. So just like sacrificing like Kali Puja, and um, there are worships in the mode of ignorance, where animals are killed and put into the fire and all those things. So Narada Muni was showing all these animal soul are waiting for Pracinabarhishat to die to attack them with their horns. So this is the picture here. And then Narada Muni starts the story. Again, there's a big king, Pracinabarhi. This is actually a story of Pracinabarhi itself. Narada Muni is telling Pracinabarhi about another person called Puranjana, but actually, he's telling the story about Pracinabarhi itself. But being the king, he doesn't want to directly tell him that what he's doing is wrong. But a spiritual master knows the exact way to convince the disciple. So he's telling a story of another person, Puranjana, and that's what we're going to discuss next. So, uh, so Narada Muni says, a long time ago, in a kingdom far, far away, there was uh, uh, a person known Puranjana. So actually, this is an allegorical story. Allegory means a story that has an inner meaning, but externally it feels like it is just a story. But each person character represents something else. Um, so actually, so Puranjana. This is initially referring to Puranjana's soul or jiva that never dies, right? So Puranjana or Buddhishrava, it's representing the soul of Puranjana, and friend Agyata. So Agyata is the super soul. So in all of our hearts, we have ourselves, our soul, and next to our soul is the super soul, which is the Supreme Lord Himself. He doesn't leave us alone. He's always with us in our heart as the super soul. So and each one of us are unique in the sense that we can serve the super soul in a way that nobody else can. So we are very dear to the Lord, and the Lord always comes with us wherever we want to go. Now we have accepted this body, thinking that we can be happy just by doing what the body needs. But even when we rebelled against God in Goloka, the Lord said, okay, I'll make you a situation where you can be the lord of yourself and try to enjoy. But he doesn't leave tell us to go alone. He comes and he's with us in our heart. So this is what this friend Agyata represents. So this Agnata and Burishra were friends, is what Narada Muni is saying. So, without the explanation of a qualified guru like Srila Prabhupada, who had written elaborate purports of this, nobody can understand the story. Initially, you're just saying, Narada Muni is saying there are two friends, Burishrava and Agyata. So now we understand what that represents. So Puranjana traveled all over the world to fulfill his desires, but was disappointed. So this is our soul, it's wandering in this cycle of life and death, and it was uh, and similarly, Puranjana was traveling, and then he finds the city of nine gates. So, city of nine gates. When you hear, you think it's a big city like New York City, and we know there are three tunnels to get, or three bridges, or to get into New York City, right? There is like the George Washington Bridge is there. There are two tunnels called Holland Tunnel, Lincoln Tunnel. So since it's kind of an island, to get into New York City, Manhattan, you have to pass through these three paths. So is that what the Narada Muni is talking about, city of nine gates? No, actually, the city of nine gates is actually the body itself. So does anybody know why the body is represented as city of nine gates? So the nine gates are actually representing the nine gates, or places through which there are things enter and exit our body. So our two eyes, ears, mouth, two nostrils, the genitals, all that, if you count all of them, there are 9. So this is what the city of 9 gates represent. Um, Now, if we don't have an acharya, we don't understand that the city of 9 gates is actually meaning the body itself. So this soul enters this body, and then this Puranjana meets a beautiful woman there, and this beautiful woman is none other than the material intelligence is what it means. So and then they're getting married. So this is what happens in when the soul enters the body. We are married to what we think, and our thinking is, oh, we can get a lot of pleasure by just satisfying our senses. So we go after all these things all our life. So that's what this story is representing. So you see how Narada Muni is such an expert teacher. He's not finding fault with Pracinabarhi. He's telling him a story in a very indirect way. He's trying to say Pracinabarhi is wasting his life completely focused on his own sense enjoyment. So you see this picture. This is what Puranjana is coming, and Puranjana is getting into the city of 9 gates. There is a beautiful woman who he's going to get married to. That is the material intelligence. So let's move on. So Puranjana sees this beautiful woman, inquires about her identity, and then both of them get married, and she says she'll fulfill his desires for 100 years. This 100 years, anybody knows what that represents? So 100 years is like the lifespan of a human being, right? So for 100 years, you can live in this body, then you are not able to live, right? I'm also going to read this description of the city of 9 gates. The walls represent the skin. There are parks that represent the hair, towers. There are the higher parts like nose and head. The trenches or canals, the wrinkles and depressions. Windows are the eyes. The other gates are eyelids of the eyes, um, are spoken as the gates. There are houses with gold, silver, and iron domes. These are the mucus, bile, and air. Then the capital of the city is the heart. The floors made of sapphire, crystal, diamond, pearls, emeralds, rubies. These are actually the desires, the different kinds of desires and plans one makes in their life. The assembly house, the heart, it's a center of all remembrance, forgetfulness, and deliberation. There are street crossings placed below the palate where the passages for the mouth, nose, eyes, and ears meet. That's like the street crossing. So Narada Muni is only telling him about the walls, parks, towers, but all of them have an inner meaning, and this is what is mentioned by the acharyas. So flags and festoons are like the palms and the soles of the feet. Um, Streets are um, is the spinal cord that runs from top to our head to our hips. The gambling houses are gross locations of the senses. Market is the mind, and resting place is the consciousness. Beautiful trees and creepers encircling a nice lake. These are favorable conditions. Wind, waterfall, spring, air. These are different types of rasas, like smell and touch. Non-violent animals, no sinful reactions due to pious results. And then Cooing cuckoos attract travelers to rest in the nice garden. Persons dividing their enjoyment amongst family members, friends, and guests. So all of these different descriptions have inner meanings. So we can't go over all that because it takes a long time. So, but just understand that Narada Muni is telling this story about the city of nine gates and how Puranjana entered into that, and his name was Puranjana. And he married this beautiful woman whose name is Puranjani. And then he was spending all his time with his wife. Um, so that's what is mentioned in this chapter. Um, right. So once Puranjana was spending all the time with his wife, and then after some time he wanted to just go out for hunting. So this is again trying to talk to Pracinabarhi about his killing all these animals in sacrifice. So in a roundabout way, Narada Muni is going to tell um, about Puranjana going hunting. So again, he was spending a lot of time with his wife, many years, and then he got a little bored and he thought, oh, let me just go out for hunting. And now the chariot Puranjana goes for hunting is also um, metaphorically representing a lot of things. So I'll just quickly read through that as well. The Puranjana himself represents the soul. The chariot is the body. The bow is absorption in being the doer and enjoyer. So thinking that I am the enjoyer is the bow. Then Puranjana's golden armor, the chariot's golden decoration is the passion or rajoguna. The quiver where the arrows are, um, they are there are two explosive arrows that represent the ego, that we are thinking, oh, this is all mine, I am the greatest. So that is the ego. And then possessiveness, that everything is mine, I won't share it with anyone. So that is possessiveness. So ego and possessiveness represent two arrows. There are five arrows that represent the different activities of our senses. There are five horses that are actually the senses: the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin, etc. Two wheels represent sinful and pious activities. So one wheel represents good activities and one wheel represent bad activities. The three flags on the chariot, which is represented by three modes of material nature, which is sattva, rajas, tamas. Then there are five supports, five life airs. That's the life itself, that we are able to take in air and leave it out, so that that is the five supports that this chariot has. The reins of the horse, the rope that comes into the chariot driver's hand, that represents the mind. The driver is the intelligence. The sitting place is the heart. So again, I don't want to confuse you too much, but just understand that this is very deep, and Narada Muni is trying to explain to Pracinabarhi that he's not this body. He's actually the soul who is in this body, and all the activities doing is to gratify his own body. But to the real person who he is, there is nothing being done. So coming back to the story, the Puranjana goes in this chariot for hunting, and he kills a lot of animals mercilessly. So without even thinking of caring for the animals, sometimes there is a necessary evil to go hunting for these kings, so that they can practice their skills, so that they can do well in a war. If somebody attacks their kingdom, they will have to shoot these arrows and aim correctly. So it is not wrong to go to the forest and do some hunting during that time to improve their skills. But this Puranjana was just going way overboard. So he's killing hundreds and thousands of animals just for having the fun of hunting. So then he thought he'll be happy, but he was not. So he did all that, killed a lot of animals, and then he thought, oh, I'm not feeling great. Let me just go back to my kingdom and be with my wife. Um, so Okay, so then we go to the next chapter that's actually talking about Chandavega. So this is also Narada Muni's indirect way of talking about time. You know, time waits for no man, and time is what is actually making us older and older, and ultimately we will have to leave this body. So to drive home that concept, Narada Muni is talking about time as if it's a person, Chandavega, with and he says Chandavega has um he says Chandavega has 360 Gandharvas with him. And actually, the 360 represent a whole year, like the 365 days in a year. The time taken by the Earth to go around the sun is 1 year, right? So he mentions 360 Gandharvas, and the days are Gandharvas, the nights are Gandharvis. Then the white Gandharvas that represent the waxing moon, because we know for first 14 days the moon from new moon it becomes the full moon, so just dividing time, right? So each of that is represented in the story as different personalities, and he's trying to indirectly tell Pracinabarhi about time. And this chunk this the, so the, so this time is attacking this the city of nine gates, and there's a five-hooded serpent that is protecting the city. And actually that five-hooded serpent is the five life airs we were talking about. So the life itself, because our immunity and all that is fighting against old age that's coming because of this time. So this five-hooded serpent is how he explains it. And the serpent is getting weaker and weaker, and then um, even though the king was fearlessly trying to enjoy his kingdom, his wife, his hunting, he was totally not caring about time and this time of death that was coming. So and then again, a story within a story. This old age is being represented by a character called Kalakanya. So it is said that Kalakanya, um, she first went to Narada Muni to see if Narada Muni will accept her as a wife. Mm. And Kalakanya, again, Narada Muni is a brahmachari. He said he cannot accept. And Kalakanya cursed Narada Muni that he has to just, he can't stay in a place for a long time. He has to keep traveling. That's why Narada Muni is the celestial messenger. So, and then Kalakanya finally goes to goes to king of Yavanas, and he is Bhaya. Now you can understand, Kalakanya is old age, and Bhaya, is fear. So when old age comes, there is fear involved. So the person who is getting older and older is fearing death. That's what that represents. So then, um, so this old age and fear together is coming to the body, and then finally there's a fever and the body, the soul has to leave the body, and that's what we are going to discuss in this chapter real quick, and then we'll go to the Kahoot. So in this, it's just saying how the soul is coming out of the body. You see, like for a person who did not care about God, he has to go through all this where the soul is pulled out by the body, and for all the bad deeds he did, that person has to suffer, and then he gets a body again. So similarly, Puranjan in the story, he because he's always thinking about his wife and children and not thinking about God, and since he was thinking about his wife when he left his body, he actually got a body of a woman in this next life. So the soul is not a boy or girl; it's just the body, right? So the soul enters a female body, and the female person is her name was Vaidarbi, and Vaidarbi married a king called Malaidwaja. And Malaidwaja, thankfully, was a great devotee of the Lord, and Vaidarbi was serving Malaidwaja so well. And since Malaidwaja was a great devotee of Krishna, that actually influenced Puranjana, who is now Vaidarbi, and she's also becoming a devotee. And then when Malaidwaja leaves his body, she's crying, but then the Lord Himself, or the Super Soul. We talked about Agyata, the only friend that a person has. So that is the Super Soul present in our heart along with ourselves. So the Super Soul comes and says, "Don't worry, uh, you you are always with me, and you don't have to worry." And he guides Vaidarbi back home, back to Godhead, and gives the right instructions. So this story was given to Pracinabarhi, and then we'll talk about the remaining in next class, starting from chapter 29. So any questions so far in what we discussed today? If not, we will go to the Kahoot. So if all of you can sign in, the pin is 9052677. Okay, Hemanji and looks
I'm
like
joining, Prabhu.
Ishwarji is not on the call anymore. Oh, Ishwarji is there. Okay, looks like we have Hemanji as well. Can we start? Okay, there are 14 questions today. And the first question is, who visits Pracinabarhi to guide him to spiritual life? Brahma, Krishna, Narada, all of the above. Very good. All of you got that right. Awesome job. Second question. Whose story did Narada Muni tell Pracinabarhi to make him understand his situation? Dhruva, Prahlada, Krishna, Puranjana. Very good. All of you got that right as well. I'm so happy. Everybody's following so good. How is Avigyata, super soul, related to Puranjana soul, Brahmasrava, Brahatsrava? eternal friend, eternal enemy, eternal spouse, eternal child. Yes, eternal friend. So super soul is our eternal friend. It's always with us in our heart. So this is how Narada Muni starts the story about Abhigyata and Brahatsrava. So the Acharyas tell us it is actually the soul and the super soul. What is the body that the soul enters compared to? An animal with 4 legs, a ship with 10 floors, a city with 9 gates, a building with 40 floors. Very good. All of you got that. So, another way to look at the body is it is a city of 9 gates. Okay, Puranjana gets happiness after killing many animals in the forest while hunting. True or false? False. Right. So he wanted to get happiness. He leaves his wife and goes to the forest and he kills hundreds and thousands of animals, but he wasn't happy. Okay. Who does Chandravega, who attacks the city of 9 gates, represents? Chandravega represents the wife, time, rainstorm, or accident. Yes, Chandravega represents time. Radha Chaitraji is in first place, then Ishwarji, Hemanji, and Meenakshi. True or false? They hunt 1100 sons and 10 daughters of grandkids of Puranjan brought him happiness. So we said Puranjan was, yes, the answer is false. Again, just like hunting, he was just focused on his kids, his wife, and his grandkids, but they were only plundering his accounts and all that, and creating more problems with his servants. So all that, I didn't mention that during the class, but it's just like the hunting. He doesn't find happiness there. So as a duty, you have to take care of your family and your sons and daughters, but you have to also think about the Lord and focus on how to leave this body. But he didn't do that. So he didn't get happiness. Okay, Ishwarji is now in first place. Okay, what does the 5-hooded serpent guarding the city of 9 gates against Chandavega represents? The life, air, blood, heart. So Narada Muni says something's protecting us. It's like, yes, it's actually the life air that's represented by the serpent guarding us, guarding the city of 9 gates against old age and death. Okay, Kalakanya, the daughter of Chandavega, represents old age. True or false? Very good. All of you got that right. True or false? Narada Muni accepted Kalakanya when she proposed that he accept her. True or false? False. Yes, Narada Muni is a brahmachari. He did not accept Kalakanya. Nobody wanted old age, so the old age was alone. And finally, she gets a husband. Kalakanya accepted Bhaya, fear, king of Yavana, as her husband. True or false? Yes, very good. So fear and old age, they come together and attack the body now. Okay, Puranjana became a dash in next life. Woman, man, animal, plant. Yes, Puranjana got a body of a woman because he was only thinking about his wife all the time. Okay, Vaidarbi married Dash. So my Vaidarbi is the next life Puranjana got a body of a woman. Her name was Vaidarbi. She married Dasharatha, Malaidwaja, Rama, Krishna. Actually, she married Malaidwaja. So I think I didn't mention this. Actually, what it represents is after many lives, we we actually become a devotee, and then we serve the Lord. So that's what that represents. Uh, this Puranjana, the soul enters this Vaidarbi, and Vaidarbi is attached to devotional activities, and so Puja is a devotee, and a Vaishnava, it's said in the story, right? So finally, that's how she's able to meet God. Who comes to instruct Vaidarbi after the death of her husband? Putra or son, Pitra or forefather, Avigyata, the super soul, Pashu, animal. The last question for today. So, who is our real friend? Yeah, it is the super soul. So finally, Vaidarbi, after Malayadwaja dies, it is Avigyata, or the super soul or God, that finally comes as a friend. We started with Avigyata, and now we are ending with Avigyata as well, or Avijnata. So let's see.
Hare Krishna, bye Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Hemanji, thank you so much. Third place, Meenakshi ji. Second place, Radha Chaitra ji. And first place goes to Easter ji. And Meenakshi ji, your third place. Congratulations. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarupascha kripa sindhubhyo evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.